Okay, so here we have everything prepared ready for the embroidery. We have 5 pieces of cotton fabric, 30 by 13 for the back, 6 pieces for the front, 11 pieces of vinyl, and we have 3 printouts. We have 1, 2 and 3. As you can see on this printout, I've altered that so that it's a bit further apart. I was able to, with one spray of the car onto the card, able to print out the fabric 5 times, so that's quite good. And also we've prepared the washable, water soluble, stabilizer, 20 centimeters for the 4x4. I can get 2 hooping, so I have 6 pieces of these cut, ready to go, ready to hoop up, ready to cut round. So thing prepared, ready for the project. Okay, so we're almost ready for embroidery now. We've prepared our hoop with some water soluble stabilizer. I get mine from Bro Thread from Amazon. Found it quite good, quite useful, not too expensive, and this is what I'll be using today. So our hoop is hooped up, ready for the first stitch. We then have our front piece of fabric, or the piece of fabric that I'm going to be using for the front. We give that a bit of an iron, and that's nicely pressed. And for the back piece, I'm going to use the iron-on transfer one so that you can see how it goes. We have a piece of scrap fabric, light cotton. We have our transfer, we have the 2 times. We're going to put that face down over the fabric like so, and we're going to press. Now your instructions on your transfer packet will tell you exactly how long to press and what heat and what temperature. I'm just going to give this a good press. Good press. Now that should be okay. Now we'll see if we can remove it. This sometimes is the trickiest piece actually. We should wait for it to cool down just a little. Really should let it cool down now just a little bit before we start to peel. You can see that it is peeling off. You can see, don't know how clearly you can see that, not that well, but this is the backing paper and that is left on there. As we pull it away, the magic happens, and there is your printed piece ready to be stitched on for the backing. Okay, so what we'll do now is I'll stitch the first step on the embroidery machine and come back to you. Okay, so this is the first step, stitch the placement. We're now going to place the fabric over, the exterior fabric over, and we're going to, you can either tape it or play in place or pin it in place. I like to use flat head pins, which I pin carefully at the top. There, they don't get in the way of the machine. I pin again down here. Oh, that one hasn't gone through the fabric. Another flathead pin. We give it a nice bit of a pull just so that it keeps the fabric slightly taut, but not taut. It just stops it from wrinkling. You can of course just float it, put it in the machine and hope that it doesn't move. Some people are very successful with that, and on times I do that, but just there, it's nice and secure in place. Take that to the machine and do the second. Right, here we are. We've done the second stitch, which is the tack down. So here we can either leave this as it is and carry on with the following steps, or we can take the opportunity to trim the fabric, which I'll do at this stage. So we just remove that, and now we carefully trim as close as possible to the stitch line, right the way around. And then when I've done this, I will take it back to there. So we're trimming all the way around. When I've finished trimming, I'll take it back to the machine, and I'm going to stitch steps 3 through to 6, including 6, because I'm keeping it all in the same colour. I'll come back and show you what we have then. Okay, so here we have steps 3 to 6 stitched out. We'll just zoom in a bit more for you. It's looking pretty good so far. So the next thing we need to do now is we need to turn this over and put the back on. I have a little bit of, it's like a foam thing that I like to fit just inside the hoop and turn it over. It gives me a nice solid base when working on the back. Oh, I've got lots of threads here from all the jump stitches. There's not a lot we can do about all these jump stitches in between, mainly because of all the letters, all the numbers. Okay, just some of those threads. Okay, so we now take the back piece. Now this is the most difficult bit, I think. It's making sure that this lines up perfectly with the underneath. That seems to go in there. We've trim the other. So now again we need to tape this to hold this in place. You can use this sort of magic Scotch tape if you like, or any other tape that you use that you normally would use to hold this in place. Oh fingers and thumb me. The cutter on this is not working very well. Right, okay, so that's there nicely. So we're going to put that on there. Now another piece, and we'll have that piece. Hold that in place. And we'll just have, you could always trim this fabric a little bit smaller as well if you so desire. I'm just going to put that there just to hold that on to there. Let's hope that holds that in place. Maybe just a bit more. Hold that in place on the hoop. Hopefully. Right, okay. So off to the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch oh, aha, that's another thing to remember. I have that upside down. See? Oops. Zoom out. I've just made a classic boo-boo, although it doesn't really matter. We have the writing this way up, we turn it over and it's upside down. So once again, I'll take that off, turn it the right way around, get it all held in place. Okay, here we go, second attempt of taping it in place on the back. I've cut the material a bit smaller so that it's inside the hoop, easier to tape. So we have the tape there, here and here. As you can see, this is just sitting outside the cut line. If you can just feel the ridge of the front fabric and underneath. I'm going to take this to the machine now, do the next step, which will be tacking this down, and then we'll trim around the edges and then do the final step, which will be the satin stitch. Okay, here's the backing fabric tacked down. Just now I said the next step will be to trim and then to do the satin stitch, but there is one step in between that we need to do. After trimming this, we need to have a piece of clear vinyl and put that over, hold that down, do a decorative stitch which will hold that in place, and then the vinyl. The reason for the vinyl is so that the children can use a whiteboard marker, mark the answers in the back in the slots, then wipe it off easily. So I'll just get this back piece of fabric trimmed, this taped in place, and we'll show you what. There, as you can see, that is now stitched out a treat. We have the vinyl on the back. It's difficult to see because it's clear and shiny, but we have the vinyl on the back. It's been tacked down. The reason for this inside tack is because I think the satin stitch should come around here, and if we were relying on the satin stitch to hold the vinyl in place, I think we'd find that the vinyl would come away because of the too many holes and too many perforation points for it. So I'm going to now trim up the vinyl, put it back in the machine, and now do the final step, which will be the satin stitch all the way around. Okay, so here we have it now. It's all been finished and hooped. As you can see, we have the nice clear back, shiny, and this one. So now what we need to do is to remove the item from the water soluble stabilizer. We just cut as close to the edges as we can, but not to worry too much. You can see where I didn't get quite close enough there on the fabric. On this one, oh, it was a bit frayy, this fabric, but here we go. Trimming all the way around, like so. And then all we need is a little bit of water on our finger and rub it around the edges to get rid of the water soluble tape. All that's left now is to do the other umpteen hundreds that need to be done. Okay, so there it is, easy, simple. Had no problem with the vinyl on the back of the hoop. I did wonder if there may have been, but no problem whatsoever. When we've done all the other wheels, I'm going to make a little hole here with my crocodile, put an eye setter, an eyelet in, so that they can be kept together on a chain. Thank you for watching. I just thought I'd show you the placement of the one that has been printed just on fabric. Remember, we printed direct onto the fabric with this one. We've peeled the fabric off the card and cut around it. It's a little bit close here on this top corner, and then we're going to position this one over just the same as we did the other one, and we're going to tape it in place. This one I think you have a bit more give because it's with the transfer paper. It's a bit more stiffer, a bit more, keeps its place. This moves more, so I'll get this one pinned or taped in place, tacked on, and I'll show you again. Okay, as you can see, I've now stitched that one down, and it was okay, a bit tight on that corner, but we taped it and it's secured in place, so that should be fine. Just now to trim it like the other one, put the vinyl on and the final stitches. Okay,